When the clock strikes 9, it is time for the news hour. Navika Kumar asks the legitimate question.
When your rights are trampled, I will be your voice, demanding answers from the corridors of power.
News Hour at 9 with Navika Kumar.
Journalism is a mission, not just to seek accountability or a fight for justice, but for honesty and integrity. Voicing citizens' concerns and using the truth to demand answers, ensuring that you come first on agenda. Watch News Hour Agenda with me, Maludas Balakrishnan, weeknights at 10 o'clock only on Times Now. The biggest news break of the day. Exclusive that set the primetime agenda. Bringing you stories that matter. News breaks that shake up the system. Join us for the biggest revelation on Blueprint exclusive weekdays at 6 p.m. only on Times Now.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
आप भाग रहे हैं सवाल पे. बड़ा सिंपल सा स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सवाल है. Mr. D.K. Shivkumar, what next for you? When are you taking over as Chief Minister?
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
How do you see skill census versus caste census if you would want to respond to the current political climate? कहीं भी चले जाओ, कहीं भी आ जाओ. अजीत पवार जी भी कभी भी शरद पवार जी के पास चले जाएंगे, कभी भी इधर आ जाएंगे. क्या ऐसी पॉलिटिक्स है?
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
What's the chemistry between Prime Minister Modi and Democrats? The profile of India as a country, has it grown?
Are you going to get onto a SpaceX spaceship anytime soon?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
There's always that story that the nation wants to know. There are always questions that we want answers to. They can run, they can dodge, they can even ignore us. But we will repeatedly keep asking those questions and bring out the real facts. Because the nation will always...
Their rate of growth annually is 35%, the rate of growth of their profits from airports. In Adani Ports, it's 14% in the last year. So I'm not saying they should not make profits, but exclusively to them, it is a
So are you going
issue.
to look at only
So
one
then
sector,
to say,
airports, or are you going to...
Navika.
Yeah.
The point was made that it is not exclusive. It is exclusive. This data shows that most of the contracts that are being given out is to them. You go to any airport today, you would find it Adani. It was not Adani earlier. So it's true. It's true.
Is there
it's
a process
true. You can't
in
refute
place?
that.
Is there a process in
Is there a process in place? Are they tendering so that
legal?
they can get it? I mean, if they are the best placed, why would they not win?
The whole matter has been checked by the Supreme Court, hasn't it? Anand Ranganathan, is that table there now, the JNU table, now even doubting the Supreme Court? I want to ask.
They have always doubted Supreme Court because they are the judges, they are the jury, they are the executioners. But the point I'm trying to, if tomorrow I start a company for making ports, I am free to compete with Adani. Do you think any sensible person will give me money to make a port? At that exalted level, I mean, tomorrow you're going to say, look, 40% of the world mobile market is taken up by Apple and Samsung. This is crony capitalism. What nonsense is this? If you believe it is illegal, if you believe cronyism going on, go to Supreme Court. Let the Supreme Court adjudicate. You can't just banish the wealth creators.
Mr. Mehrotra, yes.
Even the United States has said that the concentration of the mobile market in the United States is showing that there is precious little competition, that there is a monopolization of the mobile market in the United States.
But
not
if there
just
are better
in India.
products and people buy better products, what's the problem?
Who's preventing us from actually our big corporates to investing in R&D? Does Adani do any R&D? Does Ambani do any R&D?
So who should we give it to? JNU?
No. Yes, of course. Obviously, just like you bring in a molecular biologist or scientist to do economics and teach us Gyan on economics from JNU, Anand Ranganathan, who is giving us Gyan, who constantly giving us Gyan.
You know, again, personal attacks will get personal attacks. So let's end that.
I knew this was coming because
socialism. Socialist. किसको socialist कह रहे हो?
I saw this yesterday.
तुम्हें मालूम भी है socialist क्या होता है? Define करके बता दो मुझे.
When a communist and a washed up socialist, they cannot rebut on facts. They come personal. It's like tomorrow.
अरे fact. अरे you are being.
So he countered it with the fact. Samsung and Apple, he countered with the fact.
Samsung and Apple have had a history. Adani Ports have just entered the industry.
Why has Kerala government given them another port?
Don't give it. I'm not giving it.
Don't give it.
So because other governments also think they are qualified, which is why they are getting the financial institutions give them the money. Yes, Mr. Nangia joining the debate.
That's the reason what you mentioned. Name me any country in the world where there are few institutions, they actually produce more, they manufacture more. Name any country in the world, they bring capital, they take a risk of the capital. So they will produce. It's a democratic world. If I have money, I will produce. If I have more money, I'm going to produce more. Can you stop me? It's a democratic, open world.
This is not
No, just a minute. I'm completing it. I'm completing one thing.
President is poor lady. This world is not democratic, and we live in a fascist world, and therefore our GDP has slowed down. Jaggi, please respond.
No, let's be clear. In high capital intensive sectors, there will be concentration because not everybody can this thing like that. We talk about Ambani and only 5-6 guys getting concentrated. Tell me one thing, if not Ambani, Adani or Tatas or Birlas, who will take on the Amazons and Apples of the world? You think some small MSME fellow is going to take over? No chance. Third thing, in sectors like telecom, nowhere in the world do you have more than 2 or 3 big players. Yeah. And the reason is because of the network effect.
Tomorrow you will get Boeing. Boeing and Airbus is the case. It's only Adani.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you why Adani.
Why let's not have one company that is getting it. It's a fact.
It is blasphemy. It is.
So he keeps calling everybody what economists. I would say he's the right reactionary person. Let's not do that. So you
can I finish? No, other 1 second. According to the Pol Pot economist, we must not, it is sacrilege, blasphemous, to have only Boeing and Airbus having airplanes.
95%.
Absolutely brilliant argument there. Let me get in Deepak Reddy from the TDP joining the panel this morning. Also joining us this morning is Tehseen Poonawala. Deepak Reddy, a point made by Anand Ranganathan. To those who are questioning, only 5 or 6 big companies doing ports and airports. He says, well, only Boeing and Airbus are producing aeroplanes. So now we should have a democratic world where even JNU should be allowed to make aeroplanes. Does that argument really work? Is that a substantive argument, logical argument?
No, substantive argument is that molecular biology.
1 minute, sir.
Give us Gyan on socialism.
Deepak Reddy.
A very good morning, Navika. I mean, if we talk about democracy, Congress party should first start off from get rid of the family and then get democratic there. The truth of the matter is they start attacking Indian business. Not just one Ambani or one Adani. We need 10 each for India to be a power in the coming days. So that should be the mindset. So let me give you a couple of figures. Being part of the state government, I have seen that matters coming up in each of the ministry, what's going on in the present and what is the plans for the next 1 year are also detailedly discussed. Like I'm heading on the skill ecosystem in Andhra Pradesh from the government of Andhra Pradesh. So what's required, the fine details into skilling also, what is required and what is the planning to be done. People from the government of India have discussed. So this is the level of discussion which is going on between the states and the center. But what is surprising is the attack from the India ecosystem, if we see, to hide their setbacks. A lot of schemes which are being given out from government of India, they don't even participate. They don't even take those funds for their states. for whatever reasons best known. So they're willing to sacrifice the development of the state and the people for pettiness and shallow politics. So this is something what we need to look at. But if you look at the trends for the last 5 years or 6 years on n number of things, the foreign exchange, the fiscal deficit, the capital expenditure, and of course GDP, they can say that there has been a short correction, but we have to look at the global recession and the uncertainties which are beyond our control also. And all other parameters, if you look at the per capita, the urban unemployment which is coming down, the inflation, the foreign direct investment, the NPA levels, I mean, things are going on well. Yes. But on the other side, I would not like to speak like the people from the India ecosystem, because there's not much of change in the rhetoric in the last 10 years. It still sounds the same. If we go back and play what they're talking before each budget in the last 10 years, it would pretty much sound the same. But yeah, there is some issues also which has to be looked at. We have to be honest on that front also, because there is a lot of hue and cry about tax terrorism. And the 2% who are paying the taxes are being overburdened. Yes, we should be looking at that also. One factor which I would like to bring to the front is, like, we can't say everything is good. The manufacturing value added to the percentage of GDP has been dropping. Now, this is an area of concern which we should be looking at.
Certainly, there are concern areas, but let's, there is food inflation, the fact that GDP growth, the fact that manufacturing sector needs to rev up, all of these are points well taken. But good morning to you, Ghanshyam Tiwari, and I want to come to you on the point that everybody in the opposition, let's listen to Sandeep Dixit, let's listen into Robert Vadra, everybody has zero expectations, but right after the budget, they will come out and slam, kuch kiya hi nahi. Bhai, aapki to expectation bhi nahi thi. Agar nahi kiya to kya problem ho gayi? But listen in.
उम्मीद तो इस सरकार से कम ही है। सीतारमण जी, कभी भी मैं उनको चाहूँगा कि वो लोगों के बीच में रहें, लोगों की बात सुनें, और महंगाई पे तो सबसे ज़्यादा मुद्दा बहुत समय से महंगाई का है, और लोग जो इतने मुश्किल में हैं, बेरोजगारी है।
उम्मीद कोई खास नहीं है। इतने सालों से 10-11 साल से बजट दे रहे हैं, अभी तक तो उम्मीद तो कोई बजट खरी उतरी नहीं। यही देखेंगे कि कितना और अपने बड़े इनके जो पूंजीपति मित्र हैं उनके लिए कितने ये और आयाम निकालते हैं। ये क्या करते हैं, कुछ ऐसी चीजें जोर से अनाउंस कर देते हैं जिसमें लोगों को लगता है कि जनहित में, गरीबों के हित में ये बहुत कुछ पैसा दे रहे हैं, और पीछे से अपने बड़े मित्रों को, पैसे वालों को, सबको कहीं ना कहीं ये मदद करते रहते हैं। तो मुझे लगता नहीं है कि आज की बजट भी उनसे कुछ अलग होगी। हाँ, ये है कि दिल्ली का चुनाव चल रहा है, तो दिल्ली के बनस्पत, क्योंकि दिल्ली में भारतीय जनता पार्टी को दिख रहा है कि कुछ वो बन नहीं पा रहे, तो हो सकता है कुछ टैक्स के माध्यम से, कुछ और माध्यम से कुछ लोक लुभावने वायदे करें। इतना ही कह सकता हूं मैं बजट के बारे में।
Well, that's the Prime Minister's convoy arriving at Parliament ahead of the cabinet meeting, and those visuals coming in from Vijay Chowk and going into Parliament. But Ghanshyam Tiwari, no expectations, everything absolutely dark and cloudy. What do you think you would have done if you were Finance Minister?
Good morning, Navika ji, to you, the viewers and fellow co-panelists. As far as Robert Vadra is concerned, he's as big an opposition leader as Jai Shah is a leader of government. So let's focus on the substantive facts. Substantive facts are that this government has reduced competition in key sectors. This government has, even with political stability, it has killed manufacturing. It has not been able to push, even by offering tax cuts to its rich corporate friends, not been able to push their investment in the economy. And it's been on the war foot with the farmers, with the youth, with the people who write exams, with those who want a government by the people, of the people, for the people, rather than by the crony capitalists, of the crony capitalists, for the crony capitalists. So, Batenge Katenge Sarkar will only deliver on the propaganda rather than the substantive thing. How can a government say that we will build Viksit Bharat when even after making JNU, for example, I heard the discussion of JNU as their worst enemy, JNU remains the #1 university. Has Modi University become #1? Has one university in India gone up in international rankings in last 10 years as compared, that is boosted by Modi government. You take institutions of India, make them enemy of the country, yet they remain number one. This is the reality. And allies like TDP, which are flip-flop allies, their integrity, their commitment, their conviction does not matter because they are flip-flop allies. They will say that, just like here Deepak Reddy said, oh, manufacturing is bad. Oh, there is no competition. Oh, there is inflation. He said all the wrong things, but he said the government is doing a great job. This is the reality of India, that there is a set of people who are saying things to please BJP, but on the ground, there is nothing happening. As a finance minister,
Rohan Gupta, you are a party that promotes cronyism. That's the charge number one. And secondly, nobody has any expectations from the budget, but definitely they have the right to criticize whatever you do. Please respond.
Navika ji, first of all, this is a budget discussion, and I was expecting all other panels to talk numbers. They are Alice in Wonderland. They don't know what is the ground reality. That's why even after losing elections after elections, they are not able to understand where the country is going. When Modi ji yesterday spoke about the budget, he spoke about reform, perform and transform. That is the platform for next 25 years. And when it comes to numbers, I am giving you numbers, Navika. The inflation is 4.9% now, which was 5.4, now it is reduced to 4.9%. If you talk about poverty, the reduction of poverty from 29% to 11%. The number of unemployment, the employment have been created, 19 crore new employment jobs have been created. Can opposition answer these numbers? No, they don't have answer. The CAGR for GDP 5.7%, which is highest in G20 countries. I'm challenging my opposition friends to question these numbers. You tell me one place where you can find these numbers.
Seen Poonawalla, challenge thrown at you.
Thank you, Navika. There are 3 or 4 things that I want to make substantive, and I've been the only person in the panel earlier on to actually take a stand, not just saying that bring tax rates down and increase the tax net, but I've also said that please bring the corporate tax lower from 22% to 20% and the highest tax slab in direct to 20%. So I am pro-business. I am not a Porsche poor or a Marxist, Maserati or Mercedes Marxist. Having said that, I heard the discussion earlier on, which was very important, about crony capitalism. Apple and Samsung don't raid people to get facilities. They don't have the agencies working to them to raid people to get facilities.
Adanis and Ambanis do. Are you saying Adanis and Ambanis are raiding people?
I am for wealth creation. Navika, it's very unfair. I've come in after an hour.
No, but you make a statement. I will ask you a question on your statement.
Please allow me to make my points. I will answer your question. I really want to make important points, so thank you. Please allow me to make the points. I've come in after an answer. Please allow me to make the points.
Yes, please respond to the question I'm asking, sir. This is not an election rally.
I would have made my other points. I am for wealth creation. Please allow me to make my points. If you don't, I'll keep quiet. You say what you want and I'll answer it. You say it, please.
Come on, answer the question, Tehseen.
No, I didn't hear your question. I'll answer it.
Dekho, I said, do Adanis and Ambanis raid people, because that's what you said. Samsung and Apple don't.
I can speak about the Mumbai airport case, and we all know how the agency was used in the Mumbai airport case and how the airport was transferred. Can I make a more substantive point? I am for wealth creation. I am
Supreme
for money.
Court?
I think money must be created. Yet I'm the only person on this panel who was... Can I please make my point? Yet I was the only person on this panel who is actually talking about creating wealth. The only way wealth will be created and there will be actual democratization of wealth if we concentrate on Web 3.0 and our new generation wealth creators. For example, the UPI, etc. have been a game changer because it's democratized money. If you want to take that reform further, this is where our government is lagging. We have no policy on AI fintech. We have no policy on blockchain. Every single AI fintech is today registering in Dubai. That is a major...
All right, you made your point. Long 3-minute points. Anand Ranganathan.
What is true needs to be said. I admire Tehseen. He is not a Marxist. He's not a loony guy. He wants the corporate tax to be reduced, and that is the way to create wealth and the nation to prosper. And I'm so happy, by the way. I echo what earlier someone said. JNU is doing very well. And that the reason for that is, of course, scientists out there and also some deadwood Pol Pot economists who've retired. But I want to make one point, because Hina talked about food inflation. Now, you see, yes, it is a very 8.3% or 8%, whatever. But if you keep the means of production the same, archaic, medieval, if you don't increase your productivity in food, if you keep the same practices that have been lagging the sector behind, it's going to lead to more inflation. Because your products will be the same, and you give more money. When you give tax relief, you will have more money to spend. That will increase inflation. Unless we do agricultural inform, that is a problem with Pol Pot economists.
But there are supply chain issues. There are supply chain issues which can be addressed. Monica Hallan.
Look, because there is a whole lot of political discussion, so I have some political numbers here. Okay, I come with my data sheets. We're talking of inflation. We call inflation the biggest tax on the poor. The UPA average inflation was 8%. The NDA average inflation is 5.2%. I am just resting my case on what this tax is and on who this tax is. 8% and 5.2%. The biggest tax on an Indian citizen is inflation.
Please, okay, Rohit, respond.
So two things. Number one, this distinction between India growing, because that is an important point. Inflation was high, but the growth was also high. So the bottom 80% of the population then was growing much faster, and that data is backed by the government itself. So there was higher growth, and when this question is raised that India has been growing, yeah, India has been growing earlier as well. It's not as if India's growth has suddenly spurred. There has been a high growth during the 2000s, which was much higher than the global. So it's not as if, no, it's not just the base effect, because if it's only the base effect, then the current rate of growth is actually quite low. And according to the government itself, the expectations are not being met. So this point about inflation currently being high, only determined by production, is not correct. First and foremost, there needs to be investment in agriculture. What kind of investment? Which increases productivity? No doubt about it. So there's no need to bring Pol Pot on this. I would say a right-wing, if this is how the debate is going to go on, right-wing reactionary economists would have an opinion, whereas a grounded economist would have a different opinion.
So let me take home to the viewers the biggest conclusion from this. Democracy is alive and kicking.
As was earlier.
The economists, the very grounded economists versus the right-wing, whatever, reactionary economists are having a great debate. So at least one thing is settled. One thing is settled, that democracy thrives in India. Now let's go and settle the other issue. Is there high inflation? Does the government need to address inflation issues? Is inflation more or less than what we've seen previously? And number three, is there distress in the middle classes that comes from tax terrorism? For that, let me get in Mr. Rakesh Nangia, chairman of I have with us in the studio Mr. Vinod Sharma. Sorry, I didn't get your name. Rakesh Nangia. So Rakesh Nangia, so tell me, as far as the taxes are concerned.
Tax terrorism, how this word gave birth, how it came actually. It happened 7-8 years back with a couple of litigations happening because there was a retrospective amendment taking place, and that word became like tax terrorism. Have we heard this word in previous 3-4 years? Much lesser, because the government realized that we cannot make it we cannot have a tax unfriendly regime. And in the right wisdom, take a classical case. Has the number of taxpayers gone up in the country? We used to talk about 1 and 2%, today 6.8% of the population pays the taxes. You know, I must tell you a very interesting analogy. The people income from 5 lakhs to 1 crore has ballooned up like anything. Why? Either the prosperity has taken place, the income has growth, they have earned money from shares or any other part, income from land, shares or anything is concerned, and they are regulated, means they are being watched by the government, the data is being captured and they are disclosing it. I never realized this sector, these people will have a 2 crore population, basically, which is paying are from 5 to 1 crore. Never I heard seen in the past. how it is happening. Economy is growing, personal income is growing, corporate income is growing. You can't increase the taxes without the income tax without income growing. Actually,
everyone keeps saying the person sitting next to you.
Yeah, but the whole point, Monica,
no,
is
my data
keeps saying that tax base has to increase,
as correct like anything like yesterday.
But it's easier said than done. Why is no one able to do it? And what needs to be done?
I have followed budgets now for 15 years or 20 years, and government after government, doesn't matter what the color of the government is, has tried
in different colors: blue, green, yellow, orange,
red, and saffron and orange. Every government has tried to get the people out of the tax net into it. Mr. Chidambaram had that famous 1/6 scheme. Every finance minister has tried. We are very innovative. Indians stay out of the tax net. How many businessmen do you know, women that you know, who pay the taxes that they're supposed to? So there is a problem here. We will have to find another solution, because we have failed to get people into the tax net. There has to be some other solution.
What
I
is
don't
it?
know.
What is it? Scientists, please start work on that in
As Rohit said, look, there are direct taxes and indirect taxes.
Okay,
so
what's your answer? What's your answer?
Remove population.
People keep talking, I don't have an
Yes.
answer.
What's your answer?
Go ahead, sir.
Very simple.
Tax the millionaires.
We have 66 million MSMEs in this country. Of that, only 30% are registered anywhere with the government, with some government or the other. 70% are not even registered. In other words, neither the government of India nor the states of India have attempted to register our MSMEs. If we were to register them, we could at least begin to see who should be paying tax and who should not be paying tax. That's the first step. If you don't even begin to know who your MSMEs are, how will you even help them? You gave a Atmanirbhar Bharat package. You didn't know who you were giving it to, because 70% of those MSMEs you haven't even registered them. And the 30% that you are supposedly have registered, many of them under 20 different acts. All the data has not been brought together. Why has all that data not been brought together? Why is the digital infrastructure not being used in the way it should be used in precisely bringing all this data together? If this was done, we would bring a lot of new small enterprises, medium-sized enterprises into the tax net.
Well,
Navika?
absolutely right, Mr. Mehrotra. I agree with you. There is a requirement and there is a need for absolutely scientific ways of bringing more people in the tax net. Hasn't happened, didn't happen in the past.
7% are registered. What is he talking about?
Well, in your data, somewhere in molecular biology science lab, it must be registered.
12वीं fail Pol Pot economist ने अपना data दे दिया. 97% of the total MSMEs are registered.
अरे इसीलिए राइट विंग रिएक्शनरीज को मत लाया करो ना.
नॉर्थ कोरियन
साइंटिस्ट को आप इकोनॉमिस्ट से भिड़वा रही हो.
See, this is the problem.
हद्दी हो गई.
You don't.
अरे हमें साइंटिस्ट से भिड़वाओ ना.
डोनेशन कॉलेज से इकोनॉमी पढ़ के आ गए हैं और कह रहे हैं इकोनॉमी.
अरे तुम्हारी कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी से पीएचडी है. कैम्ब्रिज यूनिवर्सिटी से पीएचडी है. तो हमको न सिखाओ. तुमने साइंस पढ़ा है, इकोनॉमिक्स हमें न सिखाओ.
Chip on his shoulder. He doesn't care what is spoken. He cares about who is speaking it. This is the problem with such leftists, anarchists and Pol Pot.
Well, we'll settle that issue, because we need to take a break and we'll come back. When we come back from the break, we'll decide whether the reactionaries are winning this debate or whether the leftists and the progressive or the stabilist. Well, we'll debate that right after this break. Our last break before we come back in the run-up to the finance minister's budget. Stay tuned.
Co-powered by new Kia Ceros. Bookings open.
The biggest news break of the day. Exclusive that set the primetime agenda. Bringing you stories that matter. News breaks that shake up the system. Join us for the biggest revelation on Blueprint Exclusive weekdays at 6 p.m. only on Times Now.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
आप भाग रहे हैं सवाल से. बड़ा सिंपल सा स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सवाल है. Mr. D.K. Shiv Kumar, what next for you? When are you taking over as Chief Minister?
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
How do you see skill census versus caste census if you would want to respond to the current political climate? कहीं भी चले जाओ, कहीं भी आ जाओ. अजीत पवार जी भी कभी भी शरद पवार जी के पास चले जाएंगे, कभी भी इधर आ जाएंगे. क्या ऐसी पॉलिटिक्स है?
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
What's the chemistry between Prime Minister Modi and Democrats? The profile of India as a country, has it grown?
Are you going to get onto a SpaceX spaceship anytime soon?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered above all else. Frankly speaking, with Navika Kumar.
There's always that story that the nation wants to know. There are always questions that we want answers to. They can run, they can dodge, they can even ignore us. But we will repeatedly keep asking those questions and bring out the real facts. Because the nation will always want to know. Weekdays at 7 p.m.
When the stakes are high and the answers are elusive, there's one voice unafraid to challenge the status quo.
At 8 p.m., I am not here to sugarcoat the truth. I am here to ask the hard questions. Because when others play it safe, I go straight to the heart of the matter. It's not about left or right. It's about what's right for India. It's about holding the powerful accountable.
India Upfront with Pranesh Roy. Weeknights at 8 p.m. only on Times Now. No spin, no compromise, just the truth.
For over 30 years, my journalism has been relentless, fearless, and uncompromised. My stories have breached lofty ivory towers and brought down the high and mighty. And I won't stop.
When the clock strikes 9, it is time for the news hour. Navika Kumar asks the legitimate question.
When your rights are trampled, I will be your voice, demanding answers from the corridors of power.
News Hour at 9 with Navika Kumar.
Journalism is a mission, not just to seek accountability or a fight for justice, but for honesty and integrity. Voicing citizens' concerns and using the truth to demand answers, ensuring that you come first on agenda. Watch News Hour Agenda with me, Madhav Balakrishnan, weeknights at 10 o'clock only on Times Now. The biggest news break of the day. Exclusive that set the primetime agenda. Bringing you stories that matter. News breaks that shake up the system. Join us for the biggest revelation on Blueprint exclusive weekdays at 6 p.m. only on Times Now.
She asks tough questions like no other journalist.
आप भाग रहे हैं सवाल से. बड़ा सिंपल सा स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड सवाल है. Mr. D.K. Shiv Kumar, what next for you? When are you taking over as Chief Minister?
She takes on the masters of Indian politics like no one else can.
How do you see skill census versus caste census if you would want to respond to the current political climate? कहीं भी चले जाओ, कहीं भी आ जाओ. अजीत पवार जी भी कभी भी शरद पवार जी के पास चले जाएंगे, कभी भी इधर आ जाएंगे. क्या ऐसी पॉलिटिक्स है?
Because she speaks for you the way no one else can.
What's the chemistry between Prime Minister Modi and Democrats? The profile of India as a country, has it grown?
Are you going to get onto a SpaceX spaceship anytime soon?
Because your voice must be heard, your questions answered above all else. Frankly Speaking with Navika Kumar.
There's always that story that the nation wants to know. There are always questions that we want answers to. They can run, they can dodge, they can even ignore us. But we will repeatedly keep asking those questions and bring out the real facts. Because the nation will always want to know. Weekdays at 7 p.m.
When the stakes are high and the answers are elusive, there's one voice unafraid to challenge the status quo.
At 8 p.m., I am not here to sugarcoat the truth. I am here to ask the hard questions. Because when others play it safe, I go straight to the heart of the matter. It's not about left or right. It's about what's right for India. It's about holding the powerful accountable.
India Upfront with Pranesh Roy. Weeknights at 8 p.m. only on Times Now. No spin, no compromise, just the truth.
For over 30 years, my journalism has been relentless, fearless, and uncompromised. My stories have breached lofty ivory towers and brought down the high and mighty. And I won't stop.
When the clock strikes 9, it is time for the news hour. Navika Kumar asks the legitimate question.
When your rights are trampled, I will be your voice, demanding answers from the corridors of power.
News hour at 9 with Navika Kumar.
Journalism is a mission, not just to seek accountability or a fight for justice, but for honesty and integrity. Voicing citizens' concerns and using the truth to demand answers, ensuring that you come first on agenda. Watch News Hour Agenda with me, Madhudas Gopalakrishnan, weeknights at 10 o'clock only on Times Now. The biggest news break of the day. Exclusive that set the primetime agenda. Bringing you stories that matter. News breaks that shake up the system.
Gemini.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage as far as the budget is concerned. Just 20 minutes to go before Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in fact reveals what's in fact as part of the budget. Will there be tax rebates? Are we going to look at cuts as far as tax slabs are concerned? That's a major concern as far as the middle class is concerned. All right, we have in fact several voices coming in from on the ground. Let's take a quick look at it.
एम्प्लॉय होने के नाते मेरा बजट से एक्सपेक्टेशन है कि हमारा जो टैक्स स्लैब है उसको मिनिमम से मिनिमम किया जाए, क्योंकि हम टैक्स स्लैब के अंदर बहुत आते हैं. हमारा काफी सारा पैसा तो टैक्स में ही चला जाता है गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय का. तो हम चाहते हैं कि इस बार जो टैक्स स्लैब बने वो गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर्स को या गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय को देखते हुए बने.
टैक्स पे जो बजट पे हम इतना ही बोलेंगे कि हम जो मीडियम लोग हैं और इसमें गवर्नमेंट प्रत्येक चीज पे टैक्स लगा देती है. चाहे आजकल तो वो जो रिचार्ज करते हैं उस पर भी टैक्स आता है, उसको भी थोड़ा कम कर. सारी चीजों जिसपे भी हम देखते हैं ना सब पे टैक्स है. इंडिया में ऐसी कोई सी वस्तु बनी नहीं है जिसपे टैक्स नहीं लगा हो, सब पे टैक्स है.
गरीब आदमी जो आम आदमी है उसको देख के कोई टैक्स नहीं लगाता. बड़ों के हिसाब से उनको छूट मिलती है, आम आदमी परेशान पिसता है. जो डेली रोजमर्रा की अपने करता है उसकी पूर्ति ही नहीं हो पाती बेचारे की. कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी लगा देते हैं, कुछ सब चीज दूध इतना बढ़ता जा रहा है, सब पे उस पे लगा दिया उन्होंने, सब चीज पे कोई नहीं चीज नहीं छोड़ी, ब्रेड जैसी तक चीज इन्होंने नहीं छोड़ी।
क्या सोच रहे हैं जब बजट आएगा?
Yeah, it's a talk of topic because budget is a big thing. Because this is a BJP government. It's the third time they are presenting a budget, and that too, it's a full-fledged budget by Nirmala Sitharaman. So there will be a lot of expectations, especially inflation is going up. So we have been affected in food prices, vegetable prices, oil prices. So all this all affected by tax. So tax has to be reduced. So it's heavily burdened. So our wages has come down. So especially for like lower middle class and up before the class, middle class. So those people are that their salary is not highly increasing. So especially these food prices, it is really hitting their budget. So that is the most concern area. They have to reduce the taxes. And also the wherever we travel cost is becoming higher.
Yeah.
And also the job market is so less.
So several concerns of the common man, of the middle class in particular, whether it is rising inflation, whether it is taxation, several such aspects that are in fact being discussed. But what really is the reaction coming in from the opposition? In fact, the flurry of reactions from opposition this morning is normally what we see post-budget, but pre-budget itself, this is the response coming in from Akhilesh Yadav. Listen in.
कि जिस कुंभ में जाने चली गई हो, लाशों की गिनती नहीं बताई जा रही हो, जो खो गए उनके बारे में न बताया जा रहा हो, तो बजट ये महत्वपूर्ण है। जिस कुंभ के लिए न जाने कितना बजट खर्च किया गया होगा, विज्ञापन चल रहे हैं, बुला रहे हैं लोगों को, 40 करोड़ लोगों को बुलाने का लक्ष्य था। ये डिजिटल महाकुंभ होगा। आप सोचिए, जहां पर डिजिटल कुंभ में सीसीटीवी लगे थे, क्या इनकी जानकारी में नहीं है? जो आपने आसमान में उड़ाने का काम किया था ड्रोन्स का, क्या आपको जानकारी नहीं है? तो ये बजट अपनी जगह है, लेकिन कुंभ महत्वपूर्ण है जहां पर लाशें नहीं है और हिंदुओं की जान गई है। सरकार को जागना चाहिए, हिंदुओं की जान गई है, जो खो गए हैं जिन्हें ढूंढने के लिए सरकार को कदम उठाने चाहिए। मैंने पहले भी कहा था कि सेना को दीजिए इंतजाम को, क्योंकि इंतजाम में सरकार फेल हुई है। सरकार केवल बुलाने में रही, इंतजाम में सरकार नहीं रही। और शाही स्नान पहली बार ऐसा हुआ, साधु संतों ने मना कर दिया कि हम शाही स्नान नहीं करेंगे। उनको छिपाने के लिए फूल वर्षा की गई, जिससे कि संत लोग जान जाए कि किसी की जान नहीं गई है। लाशें अभी भी हैं, आइडेंटिफाई नहीं हुई हैं। सूची आपके पास भी नहीं है, अगर आप भी मांगना चाहो सूची।
All right, so that's as far as the opposition reaction. Of course, Akhilesh Yadav linking what happened at the Kumbh over there, but the reactions haven't stopped coming in. In fact, B.V. Srinivas of the Youth Congress saying middle class ka halwa mat banaiye. Hina.
That's right, and if you will see this picture, this is from 2023's Halwa ceremony before the budget, and this is the picture that Congress Party's Srinivas BB has used, saying, Nirmala ji, aap aaj halwa khaye ya nahi, lekin middle class ka halwa mat banana. So remember, in 2023, this picture went viral, and same is being pulled out to attack the government.
It's a meme galore, and suddenly budget, is in the eye of a storm as far as memes go. But let's get back to the moot point, and let me take a quick round from across the table on what the biggest budget expectation for announcement is. And let me begin with you, Ghanshyam Tiwari ji. What would be your biggest expectation from this budget?
The biggest expectation is authentic numbers. At least for the first time in 11 years, if they can just add 2 and 2 and say it is 4. These are the numbers we presented, and this is the outcome. Even today, they would say that they have given 60 crore mudra loans, which means that every viewer that is watching this, in 26 crore families, 60 crore mudra loans will mean 2 mudra loans per family. And you look around and you will not find anybody getting mudra loan. So this scam that this government is setting up at the highest agenda, in their 11th year, they should end this scam and be honest with the people.
Okay. Mr. Deepak Reddy, do you think nobody's got a mudra loan as stated by Ghanshyam Tiwari? All numbers in the budget are false. In that case, do you have any budget expectations?
Yeah, Navika, the facts and the expectations, there is a gap between there. But I would like to say that, rather than talking politics the way the Indie ecosystem people talk, we should look at certain facts. Whereas France is paying, the number of people who pay income tax is around 78%, and India it's only 2.2% who are paying. And one more interesting fact is, if you go down on religious lines, the Muslim population is only 0.5% are paying, whereas beneficiaries is around 20 to 30% of all schemes. So there is certain issue as far as the tax is concerned, and there are certain issues on the ground. So the suggestion should be much more constructive, and we should be looking at how what are the changes which are to be brought in this front. Yes, as you spoke earlier, there are a lot of complaints on tax terrorism also. Now that's another front which has to be which has to be addressed, because I mean the people in the tax department have found other ways to harass people and extract money. Yeah, there is a lot of expectation, and we are all eager, and we think Nirmala Sitharaman ji is going to be a little more sensitive to the expectations of the people this time.
Well, Ghanshyam Tiwari, would you want to respond to Deepak Reddy's tax versus scheme contribution by different segments of the society?
Deepak is basically right from the very beginning. My friend Deepak is saying there is tax terrorism and government should be cautious. Who is he telling to? Who's this he's saying to? When you want the entire government to be, for one or two crony capitalists, there will be tax terrorism on everybody. No one in this panel possibly will be able to say what a liter of milk today is in Delhi. Whether it is a biologist or whether it's an economist, they will have to look at these numbers. A poor person is not able to afford milk and bread. MSME is not able to face tax terrorism. And one or two crony capitalists are trying to become the richest people in the world.
Anand Ranganathan, the ball is back in the court of the biologists and the scientists.
I love this. When you can't rebut on facts, you kind of allege and abuse the person from where the facts are coming from, be that as it may. Look, the fact of the matter is, as I said, for some the glass is brimming, for some the glass is half empty, for some the glass doesn't exist, the water isn't there. Now, Ghanshyam, my good friend, is doubting all the numbers coming from the government, as he says, except the second quarter GDP. I challenge him to say that is wrong. Let him say that is not 5%.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, second quarter GDP numbers are also wrong.
That's the problem with biologists. I didn't doubt all the numbers. I just said 60 crore mudra loans. Can Anand say that in this country 60 crore mudra loans have been given? Can he name 5 people who got mudra loans? This nonsense of mudra loan as a way to cover up the mass unemployment that people like Anand are easily able to cover, and people like Deepak will meekly question, has to be called out. This is a scam on the future of the youth of the country.
Rohan Gupta.
Navika ji.
Hanji, respond kariye.
Navika ji, the problem is the opposition party, they trust numbers of हिंडनबर्ग के नंबर पे ट्रस्ट करते हैं, आरबीआई के नंबर पे भरोसा नहीं है, नीति आयोग के नंबर पे भरोसा नहीं है। मैं चैलेंज के साथ कहता हूं 51 करोड़ मुद्रा लोन है, 36 करोड़ महिलाओं को गी है। अगर उनको प्रॉब्लम है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में फाइल करे, आरटीआई में जाके ले, पर आपको देश के आंकड़ों पे भरोसा नहीं है। हिंडनगंज की जो दुकान बंद हो गई उस पे 2 पार्लियामेंट सेशन आपने खराब किया, शर्म आनी चाहिए आपको। If you read the economic survey yesterday, it has outlined all the numbers. Let me tell you, Navika, as of now when we are talking, we are number 1 in two-wheeler manufacturing. We are number 2 in mobile phone manufacturing. We are number 3 as far as the research pool is concerned across the world. We are number 4 in renewable energy capacity across the world. Can Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari or opposition party question these numbers? I am challenging it. In digital transactions,
can you question these numbers?
Very quick, let me appeal to the common sense of every viewer and everyone on the panelist, whichever side you are. The BJP national spokesperson, 36 crore women in India have gotten mudra loan. What is the working women population in India? How many of them are in employment? This is the scam that BJP pulls off. When in a
how can you compare these numbers one at a time?
There is a kind of a category of people, we call them the flat earthers, which means they think that the earth is flat and they will bring data to prove it. That's all that I want to say on this whole data argument. That flat earthers.
Since data is being debated, let me just give me 1 minute. I'll quote you some data from the government.
Thoda 40 seconds.
Daily wage rate, real wage rate had increased between 19 to 30.1 during UPA. It has remained constant 32 currently under NDA. Same thing holds true for the rate of growth in investment. It was 11.5, then it's 4.8 now. Government data, I'm not good. So if it is about data, take the data exactly as it is. Why are you making a story when the data does not tell the story that you want to tell? This is from the government.
What the data doesn't have is you get 5 kg of free rice and so many other things. So if you say only wage, you have to take the wage goods that you are getting free. So if you add that,
actually proves the point further that if the growth is happening everywhere and it's all hunky-dory, why is the government extending the PMGKAY, a long acronym, 81.35 crore beneficiaries for 5 more years? If people are better off, don't extend this policy.
That started during COVID.
Why? It's a great question. I have a response. In fact, Shamika Ravi did some studies on it, and she found out that the people who are getting extra grain, they are spending more on fruits. So it is actually they're getting more nutrition. They get and I'm against it, by the way, because I believe this is just extending this thing about making more and more ambassadors and basically ruining the ecology of India, the environment of India, draining more water, using the same agricultural practices to
But what do you say about this data?
But
what do you say about
that? Because there's breaking news coming in. Hina, market seems to be up by 900 points. What are 200 points. What are they seeing? What are they seeing?
So right now, Sensex is at 77,724, 223 points up. Remember, you got worried initially when it went into red, but now it's back in green again. There are 4 key expectations that markets have from the finance minister. 1, capital gains tax should be reduced. 2nd, income tax rates should be reduced. The government should be able to meet its fiscal deficit target, and the capital expenditure should be hiked by at least 15% now. So this is what markets are looking forward to, and given the kind of commentary that has come from the government so far, the data that Eco Survey presented yesterday, they seem to be optimistic.
All right. We also have Mr. Khambata, the chairman of Rasna, joining this debate, and joining us from the CII Electronics Manufacturing Council is Mr. Vinod Sharma. First to you, Mr. Khambata. Mr. Khambata, how do you see the budget? What are the expectations of corporate India? And are you looking at the budget addressing the issue of somewhat low confidence at the moment that we're seeing in the Indian economy?
Let me come to the confidence bit. I think Indian economy is doing much better than many countries in the world. And I was in Davos just last week. I think the confidence of people outside India is much more than the confidence of Indians here. I think the world now is seeing India in a very different way, and they are very confident of Indian government policies, they are very confident of Indian corporate sector, and we are all confident of growth. So I definitely believe we are in a sweet spot, and I think the India time has come. My personal feeling is that forget 47, we can become a Vikshit Bharat much before that. And I think this economic survey yesterday which was announced actually gives a roadmap, a prescription towards that. I only hope that parts of it are really actioned in this budget itself and in a very timely manner. To give 2-3 examples just very quickly is the whole overall of the custom duty structure. Because in many areas we see the finished goods are today actually at a lower tax than the raw materials. So there is an inverted duty structure. Now that is not for any manufacturing economy. Forget US or any other country, even India also. So
are you worried? Are you worried about the threats coming from Donald Trump? And do you think the finance minister needs to address any of those concerns?
I think if you ask me, that is a slightly different matter. But I definitely believe that the way the geopolitics advantage, because I think a lot of manufacturing which was being only targeted to one country will be shifting to countries like India. And I think there is a huge advantage which India carries today in the world, and a lot of companies are looking at having, let us say, alternate manufacturing, and India definitely is a destination.
Politicians believe, Mr. Khambata, that you are saying all these nice things because you are scared of ED. I want to ask you, is fear making you say this?
No, nothing. nothing, if you ask me. No. I think this is a myth. Because I'll tell you, industry is doing well than it was ever. So why is industry doing well? Across, if you see the corporate results, forget one or two companies. It is not one or two companies. Across corporates, the results are good. Across corporates, growth is there. If you see in any industrial areas, the land prices have become double. There are no employees available. The employee cost has gone up. I think we can see development happening. So I don't need to talk about it.
I'll get in Ghanshyam Tiwari on that, but I also want, since I'm the sari person, I also want to talk about the handloom sector and Nirmala Sitharaman's choice of saris. 8th budget, record budgets, and look at the way she started. 25, it's a Madhubani sari. In 24, she had a white silk sari with a magenta border. Then the budget before elections, she was wearing a kantha silk, a temple sari in 2023, traditional South Indian. Odisha, Bomkai blue sari, a brown sari was in 2022, Ikat silk in 21, gold silk in 2020, and Mangalgiri sari in 2019.
This is the difference. Compared to that, Chidambaram wore only white veshti all 6 years. No, I have an important question for Mr. Khambata. He said things are going so well, we might attain Viksit Bharat much before 2047. Just a small query. Mr. Khambata, according to you, what should be in US dollars the GDP per capita of Viksit Bharat?
No, see, definitely it should be much higher than what it is today. But we have to see, not in dollar terms, we are spending in Indian rupees, so we have to see in Indian rupee terms, okay? Well, I honestly believe that when economics, if you go too much into this notional, we are talking of the reality, what I call money in the people's hands. And definitely we need to ensure that the per capita income goes up. And that is the reason why I am saying, which you probably didn't say, that we need more manufacturing to happen. We need to create more manufacturing jobs, not only jobs in the services sector, because the jobs in the services sector will only benefit a certain part. I always have been saying that we should do for food processing what IT has done for urban India, because if food processing and agriculture develops, urban India develops. We need to have more money in the hands of the rural man. We need to. That's why in my opinion, this budget, which we are just going to see, should really focus on MSMEs, manufacturing, export-led economy, and agriculture. If we do that, definitely the cost will go up.
Yeah, Mr. Vinod Sharma is the chairman of the CI National Committee on Electronics Manufacturing and MD of Deki Electronics. So, Mr. Vinod Sharma, a lot of focus, of course, on manufacturing. What are you hoping for specifically from the budget? And there's been so much talk about AI actually, impacting on jobs. What is the impact that you see as far as electronics manufacturing is concerned?
Yeah, I'll come to AI later, but on manufacturing, I think we have an opportunity to be that China plus one. But the difference is that what the world is looking for is a trusted global value chain. They can trust India and India's policies. They can invest in India so that we can manufacture not just for India but for the world.
Just interrupting you for 30 seconds. Those are pictures of the cabinet meeting that has just concluded. The budget has been approved by the cabinet. Those are shots from inside the Parliament of India. Continue, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, so there are some fundamental issues that we still hope will be corrected. Of course, from the electronic sector, you will see that wherever the PLI for mobile phone, as a big example, we have now become the second largest merchandise export is in mobile phones after oil. So if one set of policies can do this, we are hoping that now we can, instead of not only assembly of mobile phones, but true value-added manufacturing can happen, which means the components for mobile phones, components for electronics can be made in India. And it is our hope that this budget, they will be announcing a component policy.
All right, big update coming in from the cabinet itself. The Prime Minister has told his cabinet colleagues, Amit Kumar breaking that information, that this is a budget for the Aam Aadmi, this is for the poor, for farmers, for women and for the youth. It's for their aspirations to be met that this
this budget is all about. He's also talked about the Garib,
Lakshmi
Yuva, Annadata or Nari Shakti ka budget hai. This is GYAN. That's the acronym being given. Garib, Yuva, Annadata or Nari. Those are going to be the target areas.
Well, GYAN is fine, but in the GYAN, if there is a bit of tax relief, we'd quite love that GYAN coming our way, and not just for Naris, maybe some of the Nars here also. Waiting for those tax cuts. You know, the Speaker of Lok Sabha coming, taking his seat, and in the next 10 seconds, I think we're going to see Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman standing up to present her 8th budget.
Nirmala Sitharaman, Vitt Mantri. सदस्यगण, बजट के बाद राज्यपाल अभिभाषण में आपको पर्याप्त अवसर दूंगा। मेरा आपसे निवेदन है, नहीं माननीय अखिलेश जी, आपने संसद की मर्यादा को आप बना के रखे हैं। कभी बजट भाषण के अंदर इस तरीके का नहीं हुआ, ये उचित नहीं है, ये उचित नहीं है। अखिलेश जी प्लीज, मैं आपको मौका दूंगा राज्यपाल अभिभाषण पे, प्लीज। नो, ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है। नो, राज्यपाल अभिभाषण पर चर्चा होगी। नो तरीका।
Honorable Speaker, I present the budget for 25-26. This budget continues our government's efforts to A. Accelerate growth, B. Secure inclusive development, C. Invigorate private sector investments, D. Uplift household sentiments, and E. Enhance spending power of India's rising middle class. Together, we embark on a journey to unlock our nation's tremendous potential for greater prosperity and global positioning under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. As we complete the first quarter of the 21st century, continuing geopolitical headwinds suggest lower global economic growth over the medium term. However, our aspiration for a Vikasit Bharat inspires us, and the transformative work we have done during our government's first 2 terms guides us to march forward resolutely. Our economy is the fastest growing among all major economies. Our development track record for the past 10 years and structural reforms have drawn global attention. Confidence in India's capability and potential has only grown in this period. We see the next 5 years as a unique opportunity to realize Sabka Vikas, stimulating balanced growth of all regions. The great Telugu poet and playwright Gurujada Apparao had said, "Deshamante matti kadoy, deshamante manushuloy," meaning a country is not just its soil, a country is its people. In line with this, for us, Vikasit Bharat encompasses zero poverty, 100% quality good school education, access to high quality, affordable and comprehensive health care, 100% skilled labor with meaningful employment, 70% women in economic activities, and farmers making our country the food basket of the world. In this budget, the proposed development measures span 10 broad areas focusing on Garib, youth, Annadata and Nari. spurring agricultural growth and productivity, building rural prosperity and resilience, taking everyone together on an inclusive growth path, boosting manufacturing and furthering Make in India, supporting MSMEs, enabling employment-led development, investing in people, economy and innovation, securing energy supplies, promoting exports and nurturing innovation. For this journey of development, our four powerful engines are agriculture, MSME, investments and exports. The fuel, our reforms, our guiding spirit, inclusivity, and the destination, Vikasit Bharat. This budget aims to initiate transformative reforms across 6 domains. During the first 5 years, these will augment our growth potential and global competitiveness. The domains are taxation, power sector, urban development, mining, financial sector, and regulatory reforms. Agriculture as the first engine. Now I move to specific proposals, beginning with agriculture as the first engine. Prime Minister Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana, developing agri-districts program. Motivated by the success of the aspirational district program, our government will undertake a Prime Minister Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana in partnership with states. Through the convergence of existing schemes and specialized measures, the program will cover 100 districts with low productivity, moderate crop intensity, and below average credit parameters. It aims to 1. Enhance agricultural productivity, 2. Adopt crop diversification and sustainable agricultural practices, 3. Augment post-harvest storage at the panchayat and block level, 4. Improve irrigation facilities, and 5. Facilitate availability of long-term and short-term credit. This program is likely to help 1.7 crore farmers. Building rural prosperity and resilience. A comprehensive multi-sectoral rural prosperity and resilience program will be launched in partnership with the states. This will address underemployment in agriculture through skilling, investment, technology, and invigorating the rural economy. The goal is to generate ample opportunities in rural areas so that migration is an option but not a necessity. The program will focus on rural women, young farmers, rural youth, marginal and small farmers, and landless families. The details are in Annexure A. Domestic best practices will be incorporated, and appropriate technical and financial assistance will be sought from multilateral development banks. In phase 1, 100 developing agri-districts will be covered. Atmanirbharta in pulses. Our government is implementing the National Mission for Edible Oilseed for achieving Atmanirbharta in edible oils. Our farmers have the capability to grow enough for our needs and more. 10 years ago, we made concerted efforts and succeeded in achieving near self-sufficiency in pulses. Farmers responded to the need by increasing the cultivated area by 50%, and government arranged for procurement and remunerative prices. Since then, with rising incomes and better affordability, our consumption of pulses has increased significantly. Our government will now launch a 6-year mission for Atmanirbharta in pulses with a special focus on Tuar, Urad and Masoor. Details are in Annexure B. Central agencies such as NAFED and NCCF will be ready to procure these 3 pulses as much as offered during the next 4 years from farmers who register with these agencies and enter into agreements. Comprehensive program for vegetables and fruits. It is encouraging that our people are increasingly becoming aware of their nutritional needs. It is a sign of a society becoming healthier. With rising income levels, the consumption of vegetables, fruits, and Shri Anna is increasing significantly. A comprehensive program to promote production, efficient supplies, processing, and remunerative prices for farmers will be launched in partnership with the states. Appropriate institutional mechanisms for implementation and participation of farmer producer organizations and cooperatives will be set up. Makhana board in Bihar. For this, there is a special opportunity for the people of Bihar. A Makhana board will be established in the state to improve production, processing, value addition, and marketing of Makhana. The people engaged in these activities will be organized into FPOs. The board will provide hand-holding and training support to Makhana farmers and will also work to ensure they receive the benefits of all relevant government schemes. A national mission on high-yielding seeds will be launched, aimed at 1. Strengthening research ecosystem, 2. Targeted development and propagation of seeds with high yield, pest resistance, and climate resilience, and 3. Commercial availability of more than 100 seed varieties released since July 2024. India ranks second largest globally in fish production and aquaculture. Seafood exports are valued at 60,000 crore rupees. To unlock the untapped potential of the marine sector, our government will bring in an enabling framework for sustainable harnessing of fisheries from Indian Exclusive Economic Zone and high seas, with a special focus on the Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep Islands. For the benefit of lakhs of cotton growing farmers, I am pleased to announce a mission for cotton productivity. This 5-year mission will facilitate significant improvements in productivity and sustainability of cotton farming and promote extra long staple cotton varieties. The best of science and technology support will be provided to farmers. Aligned with our integrated 5F vision for the textile sector, this will help in increasing incomes of the farmers and ensure a steady supply of quality cotton for rejuvenating India's traditional textile sector. Kisan credit cards facilitate short-term loans for 7.7 crore farmers, fishermen, and dairy farmers. The loan limit under modified interest subvention scheme will be enhanced from 3 lakh rupees to 5 lakh rupees for loans taken through the KCC. For Atmanirbharta in urea production, our government had reopened 3 dormant urea plants in the eastern region. To further augment urea supply, a plant with annual capacity of 12.7 lakh metric tons will be set up at Namrup in Assam. India Post, with 1.5 lakh rural post offices, complemented by the India Post Payment Bank and a vast network of 2.4 lakh Dak Sevaks, will be repositioned to act as a catalyst for the rural economy. Details are at Annexure C. India Post will also be transformed as a large public logistics organization. This will meet the rising needs of Vishwakarmas, new entrepreneurs, women, self-help groups, MSMEs, and the large business organizations. Our government will provide support to NCDC for its lending operations for the cooperative sector. MSMEs as the second engine. Now I move to MSMEs as the second engine, which encompasses manufacturing and services with a focus on MSMEs numbering 5.7 crores. Currently, over 1 crore registered MSMEs, employing 7.5 crore people and generating 36% of our manufacturing, have come together to position India as a global manufacturing hub. With their quality products, these MSMEs are responsible for 45% of our exports. To help them achieve higher efficiencies of scale, technological upgradation, and better access to capital, the investment and turnover limits for classification of all MSMEs will be enhanced to 2.5 and 2 times respectively. This will give them the confidence to grow and generate employment for our youth. The details are given in Annexure D. To improve access to credit, the credit guarantee cover will be enhanced. First, for micro and small enterprises from 5 crore to 10 crore rupees, leading to additional credit of 1.5 lakh crores in the next 5 years. Second, for startups from 10 crore rupees to 20 crore rupees, with the guarantee fee being moderated to 1% for loans in 27 focus sectors which are important for Atmanirbhar Bharat. And for well-run exporter MSMEs, for term loans up to 20 crore rupees. Also for the micro enterprises, we will introduce customized credit cards with a 5 lakh rupee limit for micro enterprises registered on Udyam portal. In the first year, 10 lakh such cards will be issued. Fund of funds for startups. The alternate investment fund, AIFs, for startups have received commitments of more than 91,000 crores rupees. These are supported by the fund of funds set up with the Government of India's contribution of 10,000 crore rupees. Now, a new fund of funds with expanded scope and a fresh contribution of another 10,000 crore rupees will be set up. A new scheme will be launched for 5 lakh women, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, first-time entrepreneurs. This will provide term loans up to 2 crore rupees during the next 5 years. The scheme will incorporate lessons from the successful Stand Up India scheme. Online capacity building for entrepreneurship and managerial skills will also be organized. Measures for labor-intensive sectors. To promote employment and entrepreneurship opportunities in labor-intensive sectors, our government will undertake specific policy and facilitation measures. To enhance the productivity, quality, and competitiveness of India's footwear and leather sector, a focused product scheme will be implemented. The scheme will support design capacity, component manufacturing, and machinery required for production of non-leather quality footwear, besides the support for leather footwear and products. The scheme is expected to facilitate employment for 22 lakh persons, generate over 4 lakh crore rupees, and exports of over 1.1 lakh crore rupees. Measures for the toys sector. Building on the National Action Plan for Toys, we will implement a scheme to make India a global hub for toys. The scheme will focus on development of clusters, skills, and a manufacturing ecosystem that will create high quality, unique, innovative, and sustainable toys that will represent the Made in India brand. Support for food processing. In line with our commitment towards Purvodaya, we will establish a National Institute of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management in Bihar. The institute will provide a strong fillip to food processing activities in the entire eastern region. This will result in 1. Enhanced income for the farmers through value addition to their produce, and 2. Skilling entrepreneurship and employment opportunities for the youth. Manufacturing mission, furthering Make in India. Our government will set up a national manufacturing mission covering small, medium and large industries for furthering Make in India by providing policy support, execution roadmaps, governance and monitoring framework for central ministries and states. Details are in Annexure E. Given our commitment to climate-friendly development, the mission will also support clean tech manufacturing. This will aim to improve domestic value addition and build our ecosystem for solar PV cells, EV batteries, motors and controllers, electrolyzers, wind turbines, very high voltage transmission equipment and grid scale batteries. Investment as the third engine. Now I move to investment as the third engine, which encompasses investing in people, investing in the economy, and investing in innovation. Investing in people. Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0 program provides nutritional support to more than 8 crore children, 1 crore pregnant women and lactating mothers all over the country, and about 20 lakh adolescent girls in aspirational districts and the Northeast region. The cost norms for these nutritional support will be enhanced appropriately. Atal Tinkering Labs. 50,000 Atal Tinkering Labs will be set up in government schools in the next 5 years to cultivate the spirit of curiosity and innovation and foster a scientific temper among young minds. Broadband connectivity to government secondary schools and PHCs. Broadband connectivity will be provided to all government secondary schools and primary health centers in rural areas under the BharatNet project. Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak Scheme. We propose to implement a Bharatiya Bhasha Pustak scheme to provide digital form Indian language books for schools and for higher education. This aims to help students understand their subjects better and in their language. National Centers of Excellence for Skilling. Building on the initiative announced in the July 24 budget, 5 national centers of excellence for skilling will be set up with global expertise and partnerships to equip our youth with the skills required for Make for India, Make for the World manufacturing. The partnership will cover curriculum design, training of trainers, and a skills certification framework and periodic reviews. Expansion of capacity in IITs. Total number of students in 23 IITs has increased 100% from 65,000 to 1.35 lakh in the past 10 years. Additional infrastructure will be created in the 5 IITs started after 2014 to facilitate education for 6,500 more students. Hostel and other infrastructure capacity at IIT Patna will also be expanded. Center of Excellence. Center of Excellence in AI for Education. I had announced 3 centers of excellence in artificial intelligence for agriculture, health, and sustainable cities in 2023. Now a center of excellence in artificial intelligence for education will be set up with a total outlay of 500 crores. Expansion of medical education. Our government has added almost 1.1 lakh undergraduate and postgraduate medical education seats in 10 years, an increase of 130%. In the next year, 10,000 additional seats will be added in medical colleges and hospitals towards the goal of adding 75,000 seats in the next 5 years. Daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals. Our government will facilitate setting up of daycare cancer centers in all district hospitals in the next 3 years. 200 centers will be established in 25-26 itself. Strengthening urban livelihoods. Our government has been giving priority to assisting urban poor and vulnerable groups. A scheme for socio-economic upliftment of urban workers will be implemented to help them improve their incomes, have sustainable livelihoods, and a better quality of life. PM Swanidhi scheme has benefited more than 68 lakh street vendors, giving them respite from high-interest informal sector loans. Building on this success, the scheme will be revamped with enhanced loans from banks, UPI-linked credit cards with 30,000 rupees limit, and capacity building support. Social Security Scheme for welfare of online platform workers. Gig workers of online platforms provide great dynamism to the new age services economy. Recognizing their contribution, our government will arrange for their identity cards and registration on the e-Shram portal. They will be provided health care under PM Jan Arogya Yojana. This measure is likely to assist nearly 1 crore gig workers. Investing in the economy. Public-private partnership in infrastructure. Each infrastructure-related ministry will come up with a 3-year pipeline of projects that can be implemented in PPP mode. States will also be encouraged to do so and can seek support from the India Infrastructure Project Development Fund, which is a scheme to prepare PPP proposals. Support to states for infrastructure. An outlay of 1.5 lakh crore is proposed for the 50-year interest-free loans to states for capital expenditure and incentives for reforms. Building on the success of the first asset monetization plan announced in 2021, the second plan for 2025 to 30 will be launched to plow back capital of 10 lakh crore in new projects. Regulatory and fiscal measures will be fine-tuned to support the plan. Jal Jeevan Mission. Since 2019, 15 crore households representing 80% of India's rural population have been provided access to portable tap water connections. To achieve 100% coverage, I am pleased to announce the extension of this mission until 2028 with an enhanced total outlay. The mission's focus will be on the quality of infrastructure and O&M of rural piped water supply schemes through Jan Bhagidari. A separate MOU or separate MOUs will be signed with the states and union territories to ensure